Good morning and happy Saturday. Yeehaw. We've got a 1992 Dodge Power Ram 250, W250, whatever you want to call it. It's the W because four-wheel drive instead of D for two-wheel drive. As you see, we got brake fluid dripping out here. This is the blown master cylinder that needed to be replaced. It had gotten fluid up in the drum and on the shoes. There's a previous video showing taking some of that apart. Today is to cover, or this moment, get that off when this fitting is seized. I believe is supposedly a 3/8, so I tried the 3/8 line wrench. It fits loosely on there. I tried a little 9mm and almost fitted on there. So I went and got a massaging tool and a different 9mm, kind of hard to see the number on that, Stanley, and I tapped it onto there and couldn't get it to budge. So here, if ever there's problems with these, I've had to deal with this before because I had a deer decide to run smack out in front of me when I had no room to move in a construction zone and caught the park brake cable, outer section of it, like right there on the driver's side of my dually. I have a video on that. It's a 2001 Dodge. Anyway, on the back side of this backing plate, little 11mm nut, remove it. Then I used a heel bar there from, of course, this side, and gently pried on each side of that to get it to slide out, because if you see, it's got the little lines notch on there to hold it from rotating, and pulled that out. Then I raised up the two retaining hooks to hold the brake line, pulled it so it can get a little slack to move around. I took the two bolts out with the 13mm, and the things may be standard. That might be 7/16. It's 92 is old enough, but it fits snugly, so I used it. By removing those two bolts, after this is out of the way, I'm able to get a little slack here. First, I try to clamp a vice grip on there to hold it steady, and then clamp a slide lock, small water pump plier, onto the wheel cylinder and turn it. That wouldn't hold enough. It started to slip right away, so I don't want to destroy it. So I got this good old Craftsman, what I call a pipe plier. These are not made anymore. If you ever find one with that hawk bill hook to it there, consider getting it quickly, especially if it's a good deal in a darn yard sale or pawn shop or something. These were predominantly used for working on batteries. I've got one twice this size, and you can turn pipe or whatever with that sucker one-handed. Once you got a good grip, you don't even have to squeeze down on it, just push. The larger ones are more aggressive than a pipe wrench and normally work better than a pipe wrench. When it's locked into place, it's not slipping, and the teeth will eat the outside of the metal if something doesn't want to turn. But of course, Didn't get overly aggressive on that here. Just reached it under, crimped it on in the lowest setting. This is what Craftsman 45310, if you're trying to look it up in case maybe somebody's foolish enough to sell one, from back when they were made in USA. I held this and turned the cylinder using that other slide lock Craftsman plier there and rotated it off. I don't think this is even going to turn on the fluid line anymore. Somebody had kind of mucked this up. It's stuck on there. What I'll need to do is carefully try to get it to turn here. If it won't, I'm going to put it back together the way I took it apart, but actually put a wrench on there, not the plier. I had sprayed penetrating oil here and there first and let it sit a few minutes while doing something else, but it didn't help much. And this is, you know, if I had to, I could have just took the other end of the line off where it mounts to the block of the rubber hose that I will be replacing, because those old hoses may look great on the inside, but that's an original, and they can get a little tear on the inside, and when the fluid pushes through, it can flip and block it from returning and lock up the brakes, or vice versa. It can possibly prevent the fluid from going all the way to the master cylinder, or of course it can bust. So this old thing is getting a new hose, but not a new line, because it needs finished today, not a week from now after I order one of these online today. So I'm going to see what will happen. Hopefully all goes well. Previous video, I'm pretty sure I showed the spring kits and stuff. That's not even uploaded yet, but poof happens. It's Roy, CRR Newts and Clues, on this Cowboy Roy Rogers channel here. Thanks for your time. Please send this to anybody it might help in case they have struggles. And yes, this will seriously be getting some emery cloth. I can measure this with a vernier caliper and also measure the inside of the seal that goes on it and get a speedy sleeve. They usually come with a cup to install it. Obviously you can't slide a cup all the way over that if it's only 1.5 inches deep. Hopefully it's not needed, because I didn't try to get one, and there's not a lot of places that will order one for you. You got to ask around. But they're called speedy sleeves, and you can clean the surface up, put it over there. This was just a tiny seep on one of these two. So hopefully a good emery cloth with the sand on it, it's like sandpaper, but it's so much better, will work. I'm going to wire brush it more first. Take care.